For this melody, the first thing that I did was I used a classic synth pad from Analog Lab 5 called ACC Lunar. This is what the melody sounds like. And as you can see, those two chords keep repeating over and over. You know, in Don Toliver and Travis's music, sometimes they have songs where it's just two chords. Now, what we use here is a minor ninth, and it's on a G minor scale, right? But we're starting it on D. So what I did was I took this down from it being a regular minor ninth, right, which would sound like that, and I brought it down. I brought this F down to E to make it sound darker, so it sounds like this, right? And then I took that chord that I made right there and just brought it up to G. Boom, brought it up to G, and it sounds like that. Then I brought this D down here and this G up here to make the bass notes. Copy that, and now we have our pad. The effects that I used for this pad were Valhalla Vintage Verb, and I put some EQ on it. I took out the low end, took out the high end. The next thing I did was I added a bass from Analog Lab 5 called Mercenary, and it's in a bank called Astro. What I did was I followed the bass notes of our original chord progression, right? But I brought this one up octave. I brought this one to G, then down an octave. But then I brought it up to A instead of it being on G because I wanted it to have a different type of vibe. So let's listen. So because these melodies get real spacey and trippy, I wanted to add like a space sound. So I found this sound called Atari Signs, which is from Loophole. And I basically made this melody right here. Now that might seem complex to a newbie, but let me break it down for you. It's really easy. So we go minor ninth, right? That's the same chord that we started off with, but I brought this F down to an E. Remember that I did that. Now, the only thing I do from here is I play along with my chord progression that I already made, and I just formulate this in a way that sounds good to me. So I brought that up, brought that here, bring this back up. So you see how this goes, right? So from there, I'm just same thing with this. It's the same chord. Once I go up to the next chord, I'm going boom, minor ninth. And then I'm bringing this one down, remember? So that ends up being over here. I'm just spacing them out, making it sound good. Right? And then at the end, I put a little variation. So after getting that melody, what I did was I put some Valhalla Vintage Verb on it. I put some Origin on it, which is a vintage plugin. It makes it sound real vintage, like it's from a record. And I put some EQ on it, took out the high end, took out the low end. And then I put this effect called Crystallizer, which basically gives it like an echo effect. And then I put Ozone Imager. And this one is really important because this is the difference between a melody sounding like this, where it's like real in the middle, versus sounding all spacey and in this ear and in that ear and above you and below you. Like, it gives it a different feeling when it's like this. And you could see that, you could see it in this plugin, like where the sound is going to be hitting people at when they listen to it. The next thing that I did with this melody was I took it, I pressed arm for recording, and I pressed this right here, and then I pressed this recording and rendered a WAV file. So I pressed render to WAV file, and now we have this as a WAV file. You might be asking, why did we render to a WAV file? Well, I'm about to show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it so that it takes up a whole nother 8 bars. That is going to make it 33% longer. Now with the loop, with the rest of the loop that we made, this is what it's going to sound like. Sounds real spacey and like galactic now. More than it did before. So that was the whole point of doing that. The next thing I did with this melody was I added some textures and things to it, some special sauce. You always want to add some special sauce to your melody. So what I did was I added a Vox first. This is from KBZ's kit. Right, it just gives it like an extra flair in there, extra sound effect, like some ear candy. Next thing I added was a pluck, and this is from a one-shot kit. I put some Valhalla vintage verb on it as well, and this is what it sounds like. And then I reversed it so that it sounds like this going into the next plug. In the background though, of course. Next thing I did was I added a vocal from Splice. Now this vocal was already in key, so I did not have to change it. It's already in G minor. The only thing I did to it was I added some Valhalla vintage verb. As you could tell, that's a really good plugin. I also took out some of the high ends, a lot of the high end, and a lot of the low end, and turned it down a little bit. The next thing I did was I took this vocal sample and I reversed it. Boom, reverse. And then I pitched it up 1,200 cents. So now it sounds like this. And that's what it sounds like in the second half of the melody, right? The final thing I did was I took this KBZ percussive vibe and I put it at the end of the melody. It sounds like this. Only thing I did was add a little fruity reverb to that. I didn't need much. And this is what this sounds like with everything going on. Real galactic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this vid a thumbs up and comment, please. I would really appreciate it. It's great for the algorithm. It's great for the channel. And you know I'm trying to get this thing to 20K. Appreciate all y'all for watching, tuning in, and subscribing. Link to the FLP will be in the description for sure this time because I remembered to save this project. And you can also download this loop for free as well. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.